And this is Michael. Take one. Marker, common marker.
So Longboat Key was also a place where I learned how to surf. With some friends of mine, even if it was a big wave or a little wave, we were known as the Sarasota Ripple Riders. There weren't always big waves, but we were always out there on the water. I started out on Longboat Key because my dad moved us here from Buffalo when I was 12, and we rented an old Pecky cypress house on the beach with the jalousie windows that opened, and at night you could hear the waves crashing, and you know, that's what put you to sleep. And it was a beautiful place to grow up. One of the most fun things about growing up on Longboat Key was the freedom that we had, because there was very little there in 1968 and 1969. I was either on a water ski, a tennis court, a golf course, or a surfboard every day after school. They pretty much knew at Sarasota High that you were not going to be going home and doing homework. You were going to be going out into the world, out to explore our community, and out to take advantage of all the beautiful opportunities that we had to be outside and do exciting things in our community. I was very lucky to grow up in the hospitality industry from the time I was 12 years old. When my dad took over an aging resort on Longboat Key called The Colony, I remember my first job was washing the windows of that restaurant, which was right on the beach. But I learned very early on the importance of tourism to our community, because our resort was very quiet certain times of the year. And I think it inspired me to continue to be in this industry for as many years as I've been, because hospitality is a wonderful, wonderful a way to live, and it's a thought process of a welcoming for people. And I think that's what Sarasota has taught me. And I think that that's what we continue to do as a community, is to welcome people to come here. So when I think about tourism and people coming here, it has to take me back to my days at my family's resort, the Colony Beach and Tennis Resort, and getting people to come down from Buffalo. My dad very early on still had a dental practice in Buffalo when we moved here. And so you can just imagine that the child would be in the dentist chair getting their braces on, and Dad would be handing out a brochure to the parents sitting out in the waiting room to come down and stay at the Colony. Ultimately, he redeveloped the Colony into a condominium resort hotel, the first of its kind, and a lot of those people from Buffalo ended up being the first-time buyers of the condominium units there at the resort, and a big influx of Buffalo people ended up here in those days. But that's the kind of thing that can happen from tourism. When I think about tourism and the draw that it is, you do see this a lot, where people come down here to visit, they end up falling in love with it, and the next thing you know, they're buying something here. And it's probably one of the biggest ways that Sarasota has grown, is by introducing people through tourism to our area, where they get to explore the performing arts, the cultural arts, our beaches, #1 beach in the world on Siesta Key. All of those things draw people to our community, continue to do that, and as our community grows, a lot of it is the basis for tourism. On Longboat Key, there was really very little on either side of my family's resort, and we could build bonfires in the evening for the teenagers that were staying there. We could take the Hobie Cat out and into the Gulf, and it was an incredible experience. Playing football in the middle of St. Armand's Circle. The bus would let you off pretty much from school wherever you wanted to go, as long as they knew where you were going. Going to the drive-in movie theater up on the North Trail, that was always great. That was always fun. Those boxes that you would put on the window to hear the sound. I think about all of the fun things that we were able to do. The movie theater downtown, which is now the Opera House. There were just incredible experiences. I think you felt like when you pulled up to a stop sign, you would know the other person in that car, because it was really still a small town. Now, we didn't really go downtown very much. There wasn't really much to offer on Main Street, because the real center of the hub was all of the boutiques that were on St. Armand's Circle, a complete change from today. But that was where, all of the fashion happened. That was where all the great shopping was. And today it's spread out all over the place. I remember thinking about when they were going to build Sarasota Square Mall, and oh, that's out in the boonies. Who's ever going to go down there? Look at that today, and look at what's happened out at Lakewood Ranch. Fruitville Road, when you went out as far as where Lakewood Ranch is, that was the drag strip for everybody at night. The car races that went on out there most evenings, especially on the weekends, were incredible. So there were a lot of things that were free, open, and just available to do that didn't have the restrictions that we see today. There was a lot of music going on in Sarasota in the 60s and early 70s. And I can remember going out to a ranch, it was called Roncon Ranch, and there were different jam sessions every weekend out there. It was not unheard of to see members of the Allman Brothers out there. It was not unheard of to have visiting celebrities out there jamming with all of those guys. Those were really, really fun times. Things were pretty loose at the colony in those days too, and one of my, I think, self-proclaimed responsibilities was entertaining the teenage groups at night. So the bonfires that we would build on either side of the property that in those days were just woods were the start of it. I had a Jeep that I could pull into the back, pop the speakers out and play great music, and somehow I had a way to be able to sneak beer from the outside bar and get that to everyone. Don't tell my dad. But yes, those were some of the really fun, crazy things that we were able to do. I'd get the young kids during the day to collect all the wood for us so that we could set up those fires at night. But my Jeep came in very handy in those days. So when I think about the history of tourism in Sarasota, I have to go right back to John Ringling and those times when he was trying to get people to come here and explore our community. We're in the perfect place to be thinking about him, and I'm sure he's probably up there somewhere watching us right now, very proud of what's come out of this. But John Ringling was a real visionary, and we're very lucky to have had him as one of the leading people to really help Sarasota get on the map. He was passionate. He was also very focused on making a dollar at the same time. And what he built for our community with this museum, with the Katazan, became a drawing card for our community as a tourism destination. So I like to give him a lot of credit that back in the 20s when he was doing that, it took guts and it took a pioneering spirit for him to be able to do that. Fishing was a big part of what people came down here for. And the beautiful waters, the beautiful beaches that were being discovered were a big part of what the draw was. A lot of those folks, the Bertha Palmers and all that from the Midwest that were coming down here that ended up settling, making this their full-time home, not just a winter home. But those trains that came down from up north were full of people every season trying to get out of the cold, mostly, as I said, in the Midwest, that were coming to Sarasota, and hopefully they were hoping that they were going to buy property and maybe build something here as well. When I think about what was really going on in Sarasota in those times, this was before Disney, before Orlando exploded. During the 30s and 40s and 50s, Sarasota was the home of the circus. So all of those performers and all of those families lived here and continue to live here. I can't tell you how many Walendas happen to be in the area. And in my catering business, there's usually one or two Walendas on any given event, on any night, working it. So those circus families are a big part of Sarasota. And the circus was a huge draw. When the circus would come back from its performances around the country, there would be parades down Main Street, welcoming them back to town. When the trains came back into town, it was a big thing for our community, for families and kids to get out and see. Tourism plays a big role in helping a community thrive. It is the door that opens to welcome people to your community, to show them what you're all about. And so tourism is the first door that opens for people when they come here. It's getting them here to see it first, to fall in love with it, and hopefully at some point they might end up being here part-time or full-time. So the types of things that people experience when they come here that make them feel welcome are the incredible culinary artists that are in our restaurants, are the staffs of our great resorts, beachfront and downtown resorts, our cultural institutions, our performing arts institutions across this community that welcome people every night, and especially in season, in so many different places. It's an incredible destination for cultural and performing arts, and of course the culinary arts as well. I don't think that people understand the breadth of all the different organizations that we have. We have a wonderful ballet, orchestra, we have an opera. That's rare in a lot of communities. We have the Florida Studios Theater. We have the incredible West Coast Black Theater Troupe. There are so many of these performing arts organizations. And then think about museums. The Ringling Museum, the new Sarasota Museum of the Arts, the architecture museums, the constant thinking of what are people going to do when they're here to visit. So our visitors aren't just going to go to the beach all day. They're going to want something to do in the evening. They're going to want something to do on a rainy day too. One of the important things about tourism for our community is the financial driver that it is for so many things that happen here. It's so many people's jobs. The service industry here is huge, and it's bringing people here to work. I can't tell you, every day we get people that are moving here that want to work in our industry, and the hospitality industry welcomes new staff members on a regular basis. So it's a driver, it's bringing major finances to our community. When I think about the bed tax and what it does, it has helped develop really a lot of sports venues and venues that our guests can appreciate. The Siesta Key Beach Pavilion, the Ed Smith Stadium, the Atlanta Braves Stadium down south. I think about all of the sports complexes that have been built around the community. I think about Nathan Benderson Park and the incredible international rowing facility that's become. All of those funds go back into helping develop venues and places for guests when they come here to enjoy. One of the other things about tourism is it's not just been about tourism to fill hotel rooms and see the beaches. A lot of what Sarasota has done and our Visitors and Convention Bureau has done is to promote sports tourism. And when you think about Sarasota today, you might not have first thought about it as a sports mecca, but we really are a center of the sports. We have the IMG Academy in Bradenton, which is the mecca of all kinds of sports training. We have the Nathan Benderson Rowing Park out at I-75, which is the #1 rowing facility in the world right now. We've held the national championships here and more. It's a project that I was lucky to be involved in from the very beginning. And it's really helped put Sarasota, along with all of the other types of sports events that go on in our community, taking advantage of the great assets that we have, the weather, and the open space that we have to be able to host major national and international events. We've got 2 major baseball teams, the Orioles and the Braves, that are here now, and that's a huge draw in the middle of season. But polo is a big sport here in the middle of season. There are horses everywhere out east in the polo grounds. There are tennis tournaments. There are major golf tournaments that go on in the area. They're just the sports, the soccer, of course, lacrosse. We were just at matches out at IMG a couple of weeks ago, and there were 11 fields going at the same time with teams from all over the country participating. One of the ways that I've been able to see our community come together is in a project that I founded 10 years ago, which is now called the Bay Park. And we started a process of listening to our community. I participated in over 400 meetings across the community to understand what the community wanted to see in this beautiful 53 acres that we identified that could be an amazing park to celebrate our bayfront and for our community to be able to enjoy, have it be opening, free, and welcoming to all. And that experience of me being able to meet with people from all different parts of our community, all different parts of our city, gave me an understanding of how important it is to listen to our community, to understand what they'd like to see happen here, and to help bring it together into success, which we've just recently opened the first phase of, as I said, is going to be 53 acres of an amazing, iconic park to celebrate for decades and decades to come. So the process of developing this park has gone over 10 years. And our organization has heard so much from the community. What we ended up doing to help it move into the future is we created a vision and a set of 6 guiding principles that were the resounding input from across our community, from hundreds and thousands of people across the community. What did they want to see in a public park like this? And so that listening that we did, which is so important and so many communities miss that, has truly happened. And the organization that's helped put this together is truly successful because of the input that came from this community across the board. Young and old, wealthy and poor, everyone participated in this. This is truly a community's park. I think that Sarasota has become a welcoming place for all races and all people. We've always had a great influx of Europeans that come here to experience our community, but when I look across the broad community that we have today and some of the personal experiences that I've had across our community, I see us really becoming an incredible patchwork of people from all over the world, from all races, all with a common passion for this to be a great community. When I think about 20 years from now, I hope that Sarasota has continued to grow in a way that's become welcoming to all that want to live here, that all that want to visit, that we've done a great job of listening to our community leaders, and all of our residents to help develop a future that's bright and successful for everyone of all ages, all races.